Are we on? Amazing. Okay. Hi, this is a very special episode of the podcast. Welcome, everybody. I have here my family all in our cozies with our white wine and ice because we couldn't get any more. What would we call that? Kelowna with the white wine and ice. Kelowna middle class. I don't know, but we're here with my dad, my man, and my sister Samantha, and we're gonna chat about some fun things. So I would love everyone to just do a little introduction of yourself, and you can say something that you like or something that you, I don't know, are excited to talk about. So I'll go to Samantha first.
Okay. My name is Samantha. You can call me Sam. I really like sharks. I'm in a shark blanket.
And sharks are my biggest fear. And when I was a kid, I used to take her to see, I took her to the Science Center once, which is in Ontario. And we saw this like under the oceans exhibit thing. And there was a shark and I freaked out. And she was 5 years old, like didn't care about it.
I loved it so much.
Okay, she didn't love it that much at the time, but since it's become her whole personality to the point that she has
a shark tattoo on my back of my family.
We've all been delegated a special shark. Cool. Love it. All right, so that's Samantha, my sister, and she's also 18 going on 19. She's going to be 19 soon. So, yep.
Yeah.
And she's in school, and we're gonna come back to a very funny thing that happened at school the other day, actually. But we're not gonna get there just yet. We're gonna go to my man. So may I introduce yourself?
I'm Jeanette. I'm the mom.
I would say if I had to describe May, I would also describe her as fun loving, but definitely gets what she wants. Like, for example, she got Aaron a gift that didn't fit. It was like an outfit that didn't fit. And we had to take it back to the mall. And Aaron was freaking out. He was like, don't bother them with this. I don't want to be a pain. We'll figure it out. And the receipt said no returns or exchanges outside of 30 days. And we were outside of 30 days. So I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. I just call her immediately. And I'm like, look, they said they're not going to take it back. She's like, I'm trying on bikinis right now, but I've got it. And so as soon as we show up at the mall, she walks into the store and Aaron's like, shouldn't I go up and try and see if I can get an exchange or a return? And I was like, this is her Olympic sport. May loves to shop. And she was very good at it, and she was going to get it. And she walked right up and it was like magic. They just gave her a refund instantly. Yeah. So
no hard time. No, what's the reason why? It was just, no problem. We'll refund your money.
But I have absolute faith, all the faith in the world, that if they had given her a hard time, she still would have walked away.
I would have whined my way through to a refund or credit.
Exactly.
One of the two would have happened for sure.
And what do you think makes you like that? Like very, like you're going to get what you want and you know what you want?
Usually because I find that nothing happens if you don't even ask or try. If you actually try or ask or kind of play on sympathetic people or whatever, you'll end up getting something at least, right?
Very true.
It's better than nothing at all, right? So you have to try. You have to give it a shot, and then you can kind of see which way you have to play it depending on how that person responds.
And I would say the other big indicator of who you are as a person is that you are always very much a big fan of change, and that change is good, which we have talked about on the podcast before.
Change is good.
To the point where growing up, our weekend excursions could have been, because I do want to say as well, we're a blended family. So Matt came into my life when I was 7 years old, right?
You're saying blended as if there's a black person.
Okay. What did I say? I said we're not going to go there. We'll cut it out. Okay. So no, but I say that's what it's called, is a blended family.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's a blended family. It's the right term for sure.
It's the right term for it. Dad, just so for context, we are recording this at 11:30 at night. Dad did not want to do this. We're very grateful that he's here, but we'll get to him in a second. But yeah, I remember you came into my life at 7. Samantha was born when I was 12, and there was just a host of things that we would do that I would say were not the norm of families. We were always changing something. We would go sit in like a Himalayan salt lamp cave just because man would read like, that's good for our breathing.
Yeah.
You know?
Good times.
Yeah. She'd just wake up one day and be like, hey, we're going to drive an hour and a half outside of the city because we're going to go sit in a cave.
That's right.
And we would go sit in a cave, and Samantha was like 3 years old. They had a little toy in the cave, and we're just sitting there breathing. And she's like, this is good for us, you guys. This is what we're doing. We would go rock climbing. That was a big thing we did for a while.
Absolutely.
Rock climbing was really fun. And most notably, she changed Christmas dinner from having a turkey to kind of picking a different country every year and researching it and cooking the dishes from that country. Now, it's the first time we cook the dishes from that country, so it doesn't always turn out great. This year we had 3 paellas, but it is a fun little experiment, I think, and kind of a cool quirk of our family, I guess.
It's better than turkey constantly for a special dinner.
Would you say you were always somebody who was interested in change, or was that something you developed like later on?
No, I think right from the beginning, I've always liked change, and I think that my attitude towards change has always been a positive one. As far as, with change comes new opportunities, doors open, doors close, and it brings on change. And it's something to look forward to as opposed to looking down on it. It shouldn't be looked at negatively.
Do you think you were like that before we had our family, like in your previous relationships or previous life? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Always.
Yeah.
Always up for change. Let's do something different. Let's improve it. Let's make it better. Always been a big proponent of change.
Which I also think is interesting to note, because multiple jobs she has quit by just being like, I'm done with this. I'll tell you off. F you. See you later. Which is awesome. It's very much like a movie. It's a dramatic exit.
Yeah.
But I remember, because I split my time as a kid, but I remember coming over and being like, yeah, I quit my job. And I'd be like, oh, what happened? Well, I walked right in there and I told him what I think about this, that, and the other thing. And I walked right out. And then 2 minutes later, she'd have another job because what you proved, and what is a very good point, is that if you are the one who goes after change and you kind of go for it, you don't have to be afraid of it. If you're not afraid of it, more opportunities will come your way. You'll find more things you're aligned with. And it's a pretty rock star way to live, I think. So that's Man. We've got Samantha. We've got Man. And last but certainly not least, we have my wonderful father, Joe Furman. Dad, what would you like to say about yourself?
Good morning.
That's such a good dad thing to say.
I'm not sure what you wanted to add to that. I mean, she would always want to change, even when I met her, and we've been like that to this day.
What have you felt about that? Because you were obviously taken along for a lot of these wild rides. Has it been something you've always embraced, or do you think you used to have a harder time with change?
No, I think I encouraged it. I think the whole concept of change and having fun while you can was always something we really wanted to do. I mean, that's why we bought the cottage. That's why we did all kinds of stuff. Some of the things that Jeanette would ask us to do or suggest were really out there, and it might take me a while to embrace them. Some of them I just flat out rejected.
Is there any that you can think of that you flat out rejected?
Yeah. When we moved here, one of the things that Jeanette really wanted to do, even though we both had jobs, was she wanted to open her own business, and she wanted to run it on the side.
Which we did.
Which we did. But we went through the hoops of what kind of business would we like to have. So Jeanette has very little concept of what the grand cost of something would be financially.
And Dad has ultimate perspective on what the grand cost of something will be.
So one of the things we looked at was opening a massage franchise.
Yeah.
Tantric, of course. No, I'm kidding.
However, when we finally did all the research and realized that almost none of them were across the entire country were owned by other than an RMT, and that we would be a first in that area, and that it would take 25 years or more to recoup your investment, I said no.
Yeah.
We looked at an M&M's, which is a frozen food thing.
Yeah, that's right too.
We looked at that. It was $750,000.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
And it would take, again, 30 years to repay.
Yeah.
And it would take literally no vacations for every minute of every day.
Right.
And I just kept saying no. She came up with...
Well, but we did miss an opportunity there to be the Furman frozen foods. Like that would have been pretty cool, like a triple F.
Been good.
She also came up with the idea of Pepe's taco truck.
Yeah.
And I was so excited about that. But of course he said no, because he said, I don't want to buy a taco truck.
I don't want to cook tacos for the rest of my life.
Samantha's also the only person who imitates dad and everyone else in the family like this. Apparently, we all talk like this.
With an American accent of some sort.
Most people, I feel like, imitate men with a deeper voice, but Samantha's iteration of all of us is, I don't want to open a taco truck. Mickey Mouse turned country western.
Taco truck.
I think she's Republican at heart. The list of ideas that she came up with and that I kept shooting down was never ending. And I felt bad for that. I really did. I hate constantly having to say to somebody, no, we're not going to do that. No, I'm not going to take my entire life savings and invest it in this and then get repaid 25 years later. We weren't going to do that. What I wanted was a business that we could invest very little money in, lots of time, sure, but not a lot of money, and we could close it in a heartbeat. If we closed shop tomorrow, how much money would we be out? And we opened a business, and the answer to that is, even 5 years later, nothing. I wouldn't be out a penny.
And what is our business now?
Soap girls.
Soap girls.
So we make soaps, candles, bath products, and the
Wellness butter.
Wellness butter, which is the big seller. It's great. We'll have to post that up, a link, so everyone can go check out Soap Girls. And how it works is Ma makes all of the soap products. We also have my aunt who makes the candles and other kind of knittable things. And then Dad sells them, which I think is pretty cool. Dad goes to the market, which is awesome because you'll see my dad as the face of Soap Girls, but he is an amazing salesperson. He was in sales almost all of his life, and he takes it to the markets. It's now in a store in downtown Kelowna in Orchard Park called The Artful Hand. And we have a website and people make local orders, and my dad does deliveries in his sparkly blue Jeep, which I think goes very well with the Soap Girls kind of logo. And that is something, as to a point, I want to say, the fact that you said you felt bad having to shoot down mom's ideas all the time. You kind of need that in a couple though, don't you? Like, I feel like in my relationship with Aaron, I'm ma'am, like, we should do this or this or this thing. I should make a cake at 2 a.m. for someone. And he's the one that's like, no. And also a lot more frugal and kind of keeps you in check. You need that. If you have two people who are, crazy like this, you'll blow all your money and probably go bankrupt. And if you have two people who are too practical, I mean, nothing ever gets off the ground. You kind of need both, right? So sometimes I joke that I married my dad, but yeah, it's
yike.
I didn't think I would, Dad, until sometimes he says stuff and I'm like, you sound like my dad. Like, that's exactly what my dad would say. But what I do think is cool is that in either respect, you're not so locked on the ground or the finances or this or that you're not willing to embrace change and experiment, and you're still willing to let her ideas go somewhere and support them. It just has to be something that, makes a little bit of sense.
Absolutely. And even over 5 years, I mean, one of the difficulties of starting that business was I had retired from a job involving money and advice and consulting. I was 5 weeks later, and Jeanette said, let's start this business. And so we did, which became my next new big job. And I mean, I had other things that I was doing, but that became the big job. And then 2 weeks after that, the pandemic hit and the whole world shut down. We literally locked up the province, the country. Yeah. And we were running a business.
We were starting a business.
However, it was a soap business. So we were very far ahead on that.
Yeah.
The only savings grace to it was that the Minister of Health went on public television and said, wash your hands and viruses can't stick to soap. So we started selling at the market. And,
so that kicked us into high gear.
It really kicked us off.
Yeah.
So we've made nothing but change over the last 5 years. We've changed products, we've changed approach, we've changed everything, but we're still doing basically the same business, and it's been successful.
Yeah.
Great idea. It was the first great idea out of a dozen, and that's okay. But that's
Don't say that. Pepe's taco truck would have been so cool.
The thing is that
Pepe and I would have been all the tacos and driving around and buying all the materials and stuff.
yeah, Dad thinks about what's actually all the driving and all the arranging and all the stuff he's gonna actually have to do. But it is funny because our family has weird attachments to like. We gotta say it. It's like tacos and Mexican. None of us are Mexican, okay? So I don't think Pepe's taco truck from a white family drinking ice in their wine is necessarily what we need to be putting. I think.
Do you know
so
where Pepe
gross.
comes from?
What?
Do you know where the story of Pepe is?
No. What is it?
I'll try to be brief. I was downtown with Bruce, a family.
Shout out Bruce.
Shout out to Bruce. And I was with Bruce and his wife, and we were downtown, and we'd had a few drinks. Then we'd had a few more. And we were in a cab, and we were getting out of the cab, and Bruce said, Pepe will pay. Because Pepe is actually short form for Joe in Spanish. Most people think it's Jose, but it's actually Pepe. So Bruce, having latched onto this concept, said, Pepe will pay. And the taxi driver came up with the famous line that we laughed and killed ourselves over, which is, who's Pepe? And so I became known thereon after as Pepe, even though
That's great.
it was a short, relatively drunken moment.
Yeah.
But that's how it all came about.
Yeah.
So from there on in, and having told the story to Jeanette, we wanted a taco bus because we had one at the cottage. We knew it was a good idea, and the best name we could come up with was not Jose's taco truck, Joe's taco truck, Pepe's taco truck.
Yeah.
And
we
should have just been, you know what? The bus should have been called Who's Pepe?
Oh,
Would have been
yeah.
great.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yes.
But you know what? Samantha actually did some artwork,
Yeah, I
used
did.
Coco's face with the little Mexican sombrero on Coco.
It would have been like a
the
wanted poster with a sombrero and a mustache of Coco, and it said Pepe's taco truck, and it was the funny.
And we had this idea of buying like one of those 2-story, tour buses kind of thing where we would turn the top layer of the bus and have like seating and umbrellas so you could order your tacos from the window, go up the side, up the stairs, have a seat and, enjoy your tacos kind of thing. So
And we didn't dismiss it out of hand. We actually did look around locally for such a bus.
yeah.
Funny
I
thing
believe it.
is, this idea happened in Ontario because I remember being in my room in Ontario, like drawing this Coco wanted poster with a sombrero and a mustache. And then years later, we thought, maybe we should look into buying a taco bus. And I'm like, Pepe's taco bus is back.
Yeah. You were manifesting it in your room, just furiously drawing. That's great. I love that. I love that. So, okay, so we've talked about change. We've talked about the family business. But Dad, would you say there's like a role that you play specifically in the family, aside from just, being a good business partner and all the things you bring to it? How would you say you are as the patriarch of the family?
Well, I'm the butt of a lot of jokes.
But you also make a lot of jokes at our expense.
Yeah.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
He loves his family. He loves
My
his
family is everything to me. We moved out here to be closer to my family, and I still praise Jeanette for having made that transition because she left a lot of her family behind. Mm-hmm. So this was something she did, and I'm grateful for that. But we made the transition for family, and it's very important to me. Having my family together, not just my immediate family here in the room, but my broader family, my brothers and their wives and kids. That's all very important to me.
I know, that's very true. And growing up, that was something that Dad really instilled in all of us. I think a lot is the importance of family and the importance of. I think, I mean, family is who you choose too, but the importance of that, of keeping your loved ones close and of remembering what's important and choosing that over. It's so easy to get caught up in other things, and it's a simple statement, but family is important, and honoring that is something you always were really.
And since we've been since we've been out here, Samantha received a lot of support from Keith and Brenda, having joined or gone to compete to become Kelowna's next ambassador. And they were showing up for the events and what was happening next and is there anything we can do? And, they were always there, and that was really nice.
And Keith and Brenda are our aunt and uncle. My dad is the oldest of 4 boys, and now all 4 boys actually live in Kelowna area, West Kelowna area, which is really nice. One thing I will also say that I love about my dad is that he is not afraid to, as deep as his voice is and as masculine as he is, he's also not afraid to embrace his feminine side. He has always grown up around women. Yep. He is not afraid. He is not afraid to have a blue sparkly Jeep. He is not afraid to, when we were younger, for us to do his nails or put makeup on his face. He's not afraid. We are always, the 3 of us, piling him with lotions and creams and weird potions, and we're like, Dad, you need to do this face mask.
And so much glitter when the girls were small. So much
glitter.
Oh my God.
I'm now a medical esthetician, and so we're throwing red light therapy and face masks. Yeah. Sometimes he doesn't want to do it. He's like, I don't want to do a face mask tonight. And we're like, anyway, lie down and we're just going to put this on you. And he is he's not afraid of that. The one thing he will not embrace is shopping. He hates shopping. I think he'd rather pull out all of his fingernails, but he will get a pedicure. He is down to have his white fluffy dogs. He's down to have some sparkly cherry lip balm on. I love that about him. He doesn't need those things he doesn't need, I would say, like on paper masculine things to prove he's a man. He's the man of the family, but he's not afraid to rock some sparkly cherry gloss.
Actually, so he's got a really interesting story about nail polish.
Oh yeah. When I was younger, I really liked glow in the dark nail polish.
Who doesn't?
Especially at Halloween time, right? Glow in the dark everything is like the big deal.
When I was younger, my dad went on a lot of business trips to like places all around the world. He's gone to Japan. He's gone to, I don't even know, like
Rochester, New York.
Yeah. But like, I loved glow in the dark nail polish. And of course, when you're younger, you end up painting someone in the family's nails really messy. But you know what? I tried my best. And because it was glow in the dark, it dried clear. He was asleep when I did this to him. So he didn't know that I put glow in the dark nail polish on him.
So it's like midnight nail assault or what?
Yeah, something like that. And do you want to tell the rest of the story, Dad?
Well, in fairness, I did know that the nails were painted.
Never mind
but
then.
They were clear, so I didn't think anything of it. And I was on a business trip in my suit along with 300 other business guys in suits on an airplane. And I believe I was going to Calgary. It could have been anywhere from Toronto. And it was at night. And, of course, they dimmed the lights after a period of time. And I was relatively shocked to find out that my seat partner was staring at my nails. And when I looked down to see my nails, they were glowing green. And this was at a time before nobody would have paid any attention to it. I have to say, nowadays, I think any man can walk around with painted nails, and
it's more okay.
Would probably not give a second look.
No.
They might have a judgment, but they would keep it to themselves. Yeah. Back then, 20 years ago, businessmen didn't particularly like things different. So he kept looking at the nails and then looking at me sort of side-eyed. And I was trying desperately to clench my fists, do whatever I could to hide the nails. But once they start glowing, they're glowing. There's not much you can do about it, especially with the lights so dim. Then when you get off the plane, you're looking for a cab and you're in the dark and your nails are glowing. And it made me realize that I had to get to the hotel quickly. I had to clench my fists so I looked angry. And I tried to hide
with your angry glowing nails. I bet some dude on that plane was like, "This is the start of a Marvel movie. This is the start. This is how the superhero comes into fruition."
I think it was just an easier way for you to wave down a taxi. Like, they knew where you were because you were glowing, and you could just like wave them down anytime you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps. Or maybe it was just a precursor. I mean, it was, it's not a sparkly blue Jeep, it's a turquoise green Jeep, but at the same time,
Turquoise is not blue.
Turquoise green Jeep, and I had turquoise green nails back then. So perhaps it was just a precursor to
It's bikini blue.
It's bikini blue. It's pretty blue. I would say it's pretty blue. But it's great. I love that. I love that so much because I think it's, it maybe wasn't something businessmen were doing 15, 20 years ago. And I think that makes the story funny. But I also think it's a testament to who Dad is, that he's not so afraid of his masculinity being taken away that he can handle a little glow in the dark nail polish from time to time. I think that's cool.
I ended up getting dressed up, doing a lot of things. Some of them would be inappropriate today. I've worn pink nail polish, pink hair dye.
That was me.
Yep, that was her. But all in support of some good cause or another.
Yep.
Whether it be something for the school, whether it be
or something we were experimenting
cancers,
with.
Programs, whatever the case might be. I was always doing it for a good reason.
Yeah.
Just as the other day I dressed up as a matador to go to Christmas dinner.
Yeah. The theme was Spain, and Dad showed up full costume, and he loves it. He likes it. There's showmanship in my dad. He'll pretend that there isn't, but there's a lot of showmanship in my dad, for sure. We have a lot of good family stories, though. I feel like there's been so many interesting things. For me, it's been very interesting growing up with a sister who's 12 years younger than I was, because I remember distinctly when I brought my first boyfriend over. I was like 18 or 19,
Oh my God.
and he was leaving the house, and we had a house with a window right up top. Like in her bedroom, Samantha's bedroom.
Right over my bed.
Yeah. And she would have been like 6.
She was little, yeah. She was
6
really
at the time. And he's going to leave, and he's just meeting, my family for the first time. He has a nice dinner. Everything's fine. Everything's seemingly normal. He goes to go get something from the car. And as he's walking back in the window that's facing the street, all he sees is my sister butt naked, glaring at him, smiling.
from the window.
Just
nice.
full, just kid, just full frontal kid, just staring at him. And he was like, "Oh my God." And then he has to look away because he's like, "Oh, I can't see it." And she's all excited, right? Like, we come back inside and she's like, "Did you see me?" Like, she's just a little pervert, like just upstairs. And the thing is, if I had been 7 or 8 years old, I might not have remembered that and thought that obviously I wouldn't be bringing home my 22-year-old boyfriend. But if I was close to the same age, something like that wouldn't have happened, right? But when you have a much younger sister, the things that go down, I feel like it's
well, in my defense, every kid on that street has walked up and down it naked, like butt-ass naked.
Yeah, we did have a bit of a nudist quality street
That's true.
in the middle of Pickering for some reason.
Like, all of
Absolutely.
the kids have walked up and down that street at least once in their life.
Yeah.
At least once. Butt naked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hannah and Lila used to live down the street, and Samantha's friend was Hannah because they were the same age. Lila was the younger sister, but Lila refused to wear clothing. So not only did she refuse to wear clothing, but she'd come stomping down the street in her cowboy boots and nothing on, knock at the door, wait for me to answer, and I'd be like, "Hey, get in here. Let me put a dress on you." Then we'd give her a dress or a long T-shirt or something. But she was just wanting to play with Samantha, and that was that. No clothes.
But it is funny though, because the families are so weird and different, because I remember that same family, the girls came over and I was doing Samantha's hair and I curled their hair. I was a teenager and I just curled their hair, and they were way more upset about that than they ever were that the kids just sometimes showed up naked. They were like, "Don't curl her hair," and they were all worried about.
I think it's because they were gymnasts and their hair had to be perfect all the time for competition. They went to a lot of like running competitions and like gym competitions.
Gymnastics.
Yeah.
Right.
It was,
Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had I feel like just an interesting time. Yeah. Do you have any specific memories? Like, what are your kind of first memories of our relationship? Because I used to teach her a lot of Lady Gaga choreography.
Oh, I remember all of that. Yeah, I remember dancing in the living room to Lady Gaga, shaking my ass.
Yeah, we used to bump butts, and and she would be like twerking, like just she loved it.
Yeah.
It was probably a little too early for some of the Lady Gaga videos, but I was a teenager and I was loving them at the time. Okay. So yeah, I
don't really have any like first distinctive memories, but I remember a lot of things going down.
Yeah, like what?
I remember every time you were out of the house, I'd like go into your room and steal all your makeup.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember the first time she did that. I went upstairs to see what Samantha was up to because she'd been missing for a little bit. Went up to her room, opened the door, kind of snuck in, and she's got Cassidy's makeup all spread out in front of her, and her face is just like a huge blur of color, and she's like, "Hi, Mom." I'm like, "Oh my God, Cassidy's gonna kill you."
I'm an artist. What can I say?
I was gonna kill her. I was so ready to kill her. Samantha would pull a lot of little tricks on us, though. She was a special one when she was young. I remember. Yeah, us going to the mall, and you wanted to be carried, but we were carrying stuff. So me, and Samantha are in the mall. We're all carrying stuff, and Samantha wants to be picked up, and we're like, we can't carry you right now. So what does she do? She has a tantrum. She was kind of actually famous for this when she was younger. She would starfish on the ground, freak out, starfish on the ground. So we were like, well, we can't do anything for you, kind of thing. So we keep walking, and we go around the corner, and she's freaking out. She's like, this is the worst thing ever. And then all of a sudden we're spying on her because we're around the corner and we're waiting for her.
She had been copying another kid who she'd seen at the same store doing this and having a freak out. And so thought she would try it on us. But
I was just a little girl.
Yeah. And then we went around the corner and hid and looked. And then all you see is Samantha freaking out going, ah! And then all of a sudden you just see her stop crying, pop her head up, look around. And then get up and be like, oh shit, no one's here. Yeah. Start running after us.
Oh my God, where did they go? We were around the corner sitting there watching her.
You lost me in Costco?
What? Yes.
No one remembers?
I distinctively remember.
I do remember that because I had the store shut down.
Yeah.
Really? Where did you go?
I have no idea. I was just running around.
I think she was like in the book section, and she just started looking at different books and stuff. And we're like, Samantha, come on, let's go. And we're, running, doing the aisles and stuff, getting things done. And next thing you know, where's Samantha? We go back to where the books are. She's not there. And things start, like rapidly kind of, oh my God. So I pulled an employee over, told him to lock down the front doors until we found her because I don't want anyone leaving the store with her. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they shut her down. And
I'm just a special case. I need special attention.
You are still a special case because the other week Samantha calls me on the phone, and she's in first year university now at UBCO, and she calls me on the phone and she's like, I just did something so stupid. And I'm like, what happened? She goes, so I go to my exam, my exam is on Friday, and I go to my exam and I'm in the exam room and I'm looking at the exam, and it's an engineering exam. She's like, I don't really know what's happening. It's like a lot of confusing stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I just don't get it. So even at the end of the exam, I wrote a little apology shark. She loves sharks. So I'm assuming she wrote a little shark cartoon that just said, I'm sorry, I'm stupid. I don't know what's happening.
I wrote, my apologies. I have no idea what I'm doing.
So she had no idea what she was doing on her exam, which just seems like the kid didn't study, right? Nope, absolutely not. Turns out her exam was 3 days earlier on Wednesday.
No, it's on Monday.
Sorry. Yes, a week earlier, basically, on Monday, 5 days earlier on Monday. And she just took an exam that wasn't hers. And she walked into a room, didn't see her teacher. It was the wrong course code, but just thought, I'll take this exam anyway. And took a different exam.
Filled out every single question. And
listen, I just thought I was underprepared. I was like, damn, I really didn't study. And then I saw everyone having a cheat sheet, and I'm like, wow, I totally missed that. Like, I'm so screwed. Oh, well. So I walk in, I sit down, I see friends from engineering, because, like, engineering is, like, a bunch of people just taking the same courses over and over again. So how the hell was I supposed to know that I was in the wrong one? And my section is 182. The section I accidentally took was 180. It was a digit off. Like,
That's 2 digits off.
But they let her write the test.
Yeah.
yeah, the TAs that walk around and make sure that you're supposed to be there, they check you in to make sure that the whole class is there, and they have to just make sure you're there. They walk over to me and they're like, "Can I see your ID?" I'm like, "Yeah, here, sure." And they're like, "Your name's not on the list." I'm like, "Oh."
That should have been the first clue, I
I'm
feel.
like, that's really weird. And they're like, "Don't worry about it. I'll just write your name down." And then they made me sign it on the side. And then I'm like, okay, whatever. I finished the exam. I was the first one done, by the way. Like,
she knew none of the questions.
I filled them all out to the best of my ability, but I was the first one done. And when I went up there and handed it in, they were like, "You're done?" Like, "Yeah." Yeah. And they're like, "Okay." I'm like, "But there was a problem, like, that my name wasn't on the list." They're like, "Oh, it's fine. We'll just write your name down again."
Okay.
Okay.
And then it ended up not being her class or her exam at all, which, okay, yes, we can say that the TAs missed her or whatever, but still, they messed up on one student out of like 100 that they had to look after.
They had 300.
Oh, okay. They messed
my
up on
God.
one student out of 300, but that 1 out of 300 messed up on herself. She couldn't even show up to her correct exam.
But I think it's impressive to think that she actually not just walked in, sat down, realizing that she was completely out of her league when it came to the questions, the test, but she persevered. She went through the entire
She
test.
plowed through.
That's an hour and a half of your time answering questions that mean nothing to you. None of us would have thought. We would have just said, "Okay, that's it. I'm out." We obviously either don't know the subject at all,
Yeah.
or we're just not going to bother whether we're in the wrong place or the wrong time. She just went through the whole process and then wrote the apology shark, which I think is a class act.
If anything, though, I feel like it kind of shows how maybe not much Samantha studied for that exam. Because if you studied hard for an exam and showed up and knew none of the questions,
know
you'd be
it.
like, this is not the right exam.
Yeah.
I feel like Samantha was studied, but maybe missed some chunks, which there's no shame in. I did it too when I was 18. And then went, yeah, I obviously just didn't study hard enough, so I'm going to just try my best because I know I'm supposed to be here.
Okay. Like, my physics exam earlier within the 2-week span, earlier within that 2 weeks, we were given a couple questions that I had no clue on. I was so confused. I'm like, this is the last unit that she taught us. It was an hour and a half worth of material that's just plastered onto this exam. And I'm like, I can't even fill these out. Like, I'm trying, but I don't know what I'm doing. So I thought that's just what they did with the engineering. And I'm like, I must have missed something. Like, there's
That's
something
what I mean.
wrong.
She was probably like, I hardcore don't know what's happening here, so I missed a lot of days or something. I don't know, but yeah, I love that story because I think it's classic. You're 10 years.
It's not like I didn't have intention to not complete it. Like,
no, you were gonna complete the exam.
And they have proof.
Respect that.
Because I wrote an exam. It
Yeah.
just wasn't mine. So.
I'm excited to hear the perspective on this in 10 years, and I wonder if it's gonna be different. Yeah, I'm excited. Sure, I would love some more wine. Okay, great. I feel like in keeping with the fact that we've always done a lot of interesting change things, and our families had lots of unique experiences. One of those is that if Man decides, something specific about Man is that if she decides that she is going to do something, even if that thing is something that she just had a random thought about one day and constructed in a very weird trance, that will be the thing that has to happen. And the example of that is that she decided one day out of the blue that it would be really cool if one day I got hatched out of an egg for my birthday as a rebirth into a new chapter of my life. I don't know why it had to be an egg. It had to be a paper mache egg. That was the idea because it seemed to be the easiest to make. And it has yet to happen, but I spend every single birthday terrified that I'm going to come home, go to sleep, and wake up in an egg and the reason that I'm terrified of this is because this is not the first birthday surprise that I have had to endure. One birthday surprise that I had to endure one year was on my 16th birthday. I came over to the house and they were like, happy birthday, go upstairs and drop your stuff off, because I went back and forth between houses. I had a bag with me. And then we'll come downstairs and we'll, celebrate your birthday, right? So I go upstairs to my room and I open the door and there's a person standing in my room. And I scream and freak out and turn on the light, only to realize that it is the most dysmorphed paper mache person, because we love papier mache, and it is the most morphed, weird mannequin paper mache person with paper hair and a white painted face standing in the room. And you know what else is in the room is a tiny little hidden camera to film my reaction to said paper mache person. And so I go downstairs and I'm like, hey, what the hell?
There's somebody in my room.
There's somebody in my room. So I go downstairs and I'm like, what the hell is this? And they're like, happy birthday. And for months, because May used to work at Hudson's Bay, she had gotten a mannequin, brought it home, paper mache'd it, took the mannequin out, and used that as a base to construct this very warped looking, decrepit person.
It took us months.
Oh my God, did it ever take us a long time? Because we were making legs one at a time, arms one at a time, torso, and then we'd have like body parts in the patio windows because the sun came in there, and we'd have all these paper mache body parts drying out, and then she'd call and say, hey, I'm in the neighborhood, I'm coming over, and we'd be like, oh my God, and grab all the body parts out from the window and bring them back into the garage and cover them up with a sheet so that it couldn't be seen, because it was going to be a surprise.
Because then we had to insert wooden sticks to make sure that they stood up correctly.
Yeah.
It was
rocks in the shoes, so it stayed.
It was creepier
grounded
when it was painted.
It was creepier when it was painted. And well, because what happens was, like, I would go over there every Wednesday and every other weekend. That was kind of the switch that I would do between houses. Yeah. But I worked at the city of Pickering, which was closer to my and dad's house. So I would come over there more often in between shifts, just casually to say hi. Yeah. And because they weren't expecting me, it wasn't my scheduled day to come over. All of a sudden, like a couple of serial killers, they would have random body parts that they were storing in the garage in the basement, trying to make sure I didn't see them to construct this person. And this is all because, and I know how this went down. I don't have to have been there to know this, because I know my man, I know her well. She one day was like, wouldn't it be fun if for Cassidy's birthday we just made her like a life-size version of herself
and put all of her birthday gifts on the doll? Isn't that cool? So the paper mache doll had an arm up, and on her wrist was a new purse. On the other wrist was like a new bracelet. Around her neck was like a necklace, and all that kind of stuff, right? So it was cool.
That was very cool, because she also had balloons in her hand, and inside the balloons were like little gifts and stuff. So they had decorated her with my presents, which was very sweet and very thoughtful and very generous, but in the most weird, twisted, fucked up way you could imagine, because I came over one day and they painted, she had like newspaper hair and then a white painted line that was supposed to be my makeup. It looked like I don't know, like a 1950s prostitute. Like when they first started making makeup, it looked like that, just like an 1800s prostitute, not 1950s, like 1800s prostitute.
It wasn't easy to get the nose right.
Yeah, it was hard. It was really hard.
Anyway, this doll, this paper mache creation was about 5'5". So I'm 6 feet, but it was close. You know, it was still a person-sized doll. We have a lot of pictures with it, and then we kept it. But the thing about keeping a doll that's creepy and doesn't have anywhere to go is that when you put it in the room, which my room was also used as a guest room, especially around holidays, you know, when
my birthday parties.
Yeah. And so when May's parents came over once for Christmas, they slept in that room, you know, and woke up in the middle of the night and punched her in the tit, because you see the silhouette of a paper mache doll in the window And you don't think it's a paper mache doll. You think a person standing over top of you in the night and just, anyway, so she had a crushed boob.
She had a dent.
She had a dent. She wasn't doing well. And so then when we had a cottage about 3.5 hours to 4 hours, like
Sauble Beach,
northwest-ish of Toronto, and it was a great cottage. It was a lot of fun. But when everybody moved out to Kelowna, what did you do with the doll?
Well, so we had to get rid of it, and we asked Cassidy, can you take it? And Cassidy said, I don't want that. Like, no.
In my 500 square foot apartment in Toronto at the time.
But I'm not taking it to my mom's house either. So we were like, okay, fine. So we took the doll to the cottage and we burnt it in the bonfire.
But the thing is, my mom doesn't just want to burn things. She wants to burn them on Instagram Live.
So that's what I did. I went live and I said the burning of Cassidy. And we put the doll in the fire. Well, oh my God.
It went up in flames, and so did Cassidy's inbox, because, oh my God.
Yeah, that's great.
Cassidy's friends were chiming in with her. Are you okay? Oh my God, what's happening?
Everybody was messaging me going, are your parents mad at you? I swear to God, for a couple minutes, like a few of my friends thought you guys were moving to Kelowna to get away from me because we were having problems. Like, they were like, are your parents okay? Because keep in mind, it's not like they went Instagram Live on the regular. This was their first and only time going Instagram Live, was to say the burning of Cassidy and watch this paper mache creation go up in flames.
It's true, actually. The only other time my mom has ever went Instagram Live, she recorded the fires in our backyard in Kelowna.
Yeah.
So she
When
really
Kelowna-
likes
Got a thing for pyro.
Yeah, she's a pyromaniac on Instagram Live. So
When Kelowna
Tune
was
in.
on fire, that was us. Yeah.
Yep, that was that.
Fairness, what else would you do with a 5'5" paper mache doll?
Yeah. I mean, it's going
We're
to
not
burn.
gonna
It's
move it.
newspaper.
I mean,
so I
but we
can't
didn't have to
imagine
keep it-
having thrown it in the trash. That would have felt terrible. Putting it in a trash bin.
yeah, but we
So
didn't
I
have to.
thought-
yeah, better
keep
light it on fire.
We didn't have to keep it intact while we lit it on fire. Like, we could have
No,
chopped.
it would have been worse to dismember it first.
Yeah,
Light it on
exactly.
fire.
I don't agree with that. You know, using it for sword practice. Or,
Oh my God.
Listen, I knew you guys were going to burn it at the cottage because you talked about it. And I was like, that's fine. It's good kindling. I
Yeah.
respect it. We'd had it for many years,
Yeah.
from age 16 to 26, 10 years. 10
Yeah.
years. We'd had this paper mache boob dent bitch in my room.
looking out the window.
Yeah, creeping out everyone who dared to stay over for a night. Fine, we're going to burn her at the cottage. The thing that gets me is calling it the burning of Cassidy on Instagram Live.
I didn't think that many people would be watching that.
They were watching and they were worried.
I will say that I think
Oh my
it does
God.
make me remember another event for another birthday of yours. And I think all of this kind of may have been why Samantha turned out the way she did, is that she was watching all of this, but
And
we
thinking
filled
I'm
a
next.
large plastic
Oh, God.
bin with Jell-O,
I spent a week making Jell-O.
and we
like so much
inside of the
Jell-O.
Jell-O, we put little cocktail weenies, so we had her bobbing for dick. And I don't remember how old you were. I think you were 12 or 14.
But they were just little cocktail weenies.
I've never heard you call it bobbing for dick until right now.
But effectively, that's what it was.
Oh my God.
Nobody has ever told me that the idea behind this was to get your 14-year-old kid to bob for dick. Happy birthday! Catch a dick.
But some of them had like strings around them for her presents, but some of them didn't. So like sometimes.
Oh yeah, you could get a bear dick, and then who cares? But if you get one with a string around it, oh yeah, you get a present. If not, we're saving it till Christmas. That's what I was told. And by the way, you're not explaining all of this. First of all, that of Jell-O, sure, but it was every flavor of Jell-O. So it was grape and cherry and lime.
Yeah.
What did that mean? It meant the Jell-O was brown. It was just a color, just a brown sludge Jell-O vat that they were like, okay, and by the way, absolutely no hands. Put some goggles
Yeah.
on and get your mouth in there.
Yeah.
So I had to grab all these cocktail wieners. Bobbing for dick is insane. and come out with different cocktail winners. And if I came out with a bear one, oh, no gift. But with one with a string, oh, you got a present. And I was told if I did not get the ones with the ribbon in a certain amount of time, they would be saved as Christmas presents.
Oh my God.
So this
Maybe
was like,
I should have just said you were bobbing for wieners, but I think in the scheme of things, it's the same thing. I mean, and it wasn't my idea. I mean, I think it was a good idea, but it wasn't my idea. And I don't think we've always, tried to make your birthdays memorable.
Meaningful.
Yeah,
scarring and traumatic.
The stepmom was like, oh, let's get her to bob for weenies. And then her dad was like, yeah, my 14-year-old can bob for dick.
This is my
what
family.
I didn't realize up until maybe now was what that meant for Samantha watching all of this happen and how that would
terrify her.
Well, change her perhaps.
I mean, I now am like whatever, like because the other thing that used to happen, not on a birthday, just a regular occurrence, is that man used to follow behind me if I was going up the stairs and go and bark and grab my ass so that I would think a dog was attacking me from behind, because what a fun thing to think.
It was just fun.
It's fun for you. But because of this, I've become so desensitized that you could do anything to me now, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm good. Samantha, probably got a little scared.
It's okay.
For what her birthday.
I turned out fine.
Yeah.
She didn't do anything for me for my birthdays.
Nothing scary?
No.
I got the
wanted to.
But see, I'm still living in fear because I know an egg is coming for me one day. I don't know if I thought it might happen when I turned 30, but it didn't. So I'm every year we're going by,
No, you know what it is? We're waiting for Riley to show up for your birthday. The year that Riley shows up for your birthday.
She showed up on my 30th.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, but you guys weren't there.
I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, she said she wanted to be there. She said she wanted to be there for the second birth.
I mean, she was there in Vancouver, but then you guys would have needed to be. So at some point,
Bobbing for balls.
No. This is you can do it when I go through menopause. There's no more egg dropping. Here you go. Fucking crack out the man of Jesus Christ. Anyway, it's been an interesting life. Okay, we have some questions. That we're gonna go through, and this first one is for Mom. What were you first attracted to about Pepe? Yeah, about Dad over there.
I thought he was really handsome, and he had such a nice personality. And then he asked me out, and I said no. He wanted me to show up at a company function. And
so explain how you guys met. Like, what was happening?
Okay, so we were both working for Xerox. I was working for his boss as the secretary, and he was working as a director. And basically, a company event showed up, and he had to fill a table of 10 people for a dinner. And he asked me if I wanted to go. And I said no, because I didn't want to go just to fill a seat for him. Like, I knew that he'd be interacting with clients, customers, whatever. And I thought it was more of a salesy kind of evening. And I'm like, what am I going to do there? You don't need me there. I'm not going. And then he kept asking, and I eventually said yes. And then I said, okay, well, so how, like, where are we going for this? It was going to be downtown at Harbor. Where was it? The Harbor
Castle.
Harbor Castle.
It was the black tie event.
Yeah. And so he was like, okay, so you'll meet me there. And I was like, oh, then I'm not going, because I'm not taking the TTC and the bus to get down in a, floor length gown kind of thing to get to a place. So, so he said, okay, no, it's not a problem. I'll pick you up and all that kind of stuff.
In my defense,
we had a great time.
We had a great time. I really wanted her to go, but she was a colleague, somebody I worked with, and I wasn't about to start making the moves on her about, saying, I mean, HR would have called me very quickly if I'd have said, hey, do you want to go out for a date? Maybe not, but that's how I felt. So I was trying to be very cautious about turning this into something that on the surface it wasn't. It was a work event that I had organized. Our company had spent $200,000 putting this event together, and I was in charge of making sure that, from our perspective, that it went well.
And I didn't care.
So I wanted somebody with me that would be fun and would have a good time. And in fairness, I had the right intentions.
Yeah, but did you have a crush on me?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, months earlier, she and I had been working together on something else, and I had looked up one day as I was standing by a copier and saw her and thought to myself, I'm going to marry this woman. And I don't know where that came from, and I was kind of surprised when it popped into my head. I was like, that's my wife? I was like, what? The thought came and went, and I just dismissed it because I thought, well, that's just a random thought coming into my mind. But I've always sort of been attracted, and I always wanted to keep going with it. But I also didn't want to come on like
too strong.
I'm a director, you're a secretary. Come on, I want to,
Right.
I didn't want this to look. Fishing off the company pier is never a good thing.
That was never a good idea.
Yeah, fishing.
Fishing.
Yeah. Well, yep. Bobbing, fishing, whatever.
Yeah.
It's all.
Bobbing for dick, fishing for puss. Just all a bad idea. Okay.
But in fairness, we did have a great time.
Yeah, we did.
It wasn't a sales event. I mean, it started off with I was, dealing with people, but very quickly it was just you and I.
Like a fun party.
Oh yeah, we got
Up to the
fake
point where you were spitting on
tattoos.
me.
I didn't spit on you. We got fake tattoos.
Okay,
we
what's
danced
that? You spit on him?
at the end of the night. So we go out for coffee, and he has a tattoo on his neck.
Fake tattoo?
And it's a fake tattoo.
I'm wearing a tuxedo.
And he's wearing a tux, and he's saying, oh, it's just going to be really quick to take this off. I should just rub it off now. And I'm like, here, I can help you. And I went like this. And he's like, did you just spit on me? And I'm like, no. What are you talking about? I'm not going to spit on you. But yeah, it kind of was.
But I love that. And then, so
about it.
Dad, were you attracted to the fact that man was like playing hard to get a little bit and said no and, wanted to be picked up? Like, did you like that?
Yeah, because it showed me that she was saying no for all the right reasons. She didn't want to go as, in fact, if I'd have just said, would you come as my date, she probably would have said yes. But she didn't want to come as a work
+1.
escort.
Yeah.
She didn't want to
Like,
come
I didn't want to do
Just
that.
any kind of escort. Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
She didn't want to come for the wrong
business,
reasons.
like for
And
a business dance.
She certainly
It was
wasn't
like,
going to. I mean, I said I didn't want to make it presumptuous, and I'll drive you. I said, well, I'll meet you there. Like, I didn't know what the right thing to do was, and she said, no, I'm not. If I have to take my own way there, I'm not going.
Right.
And I respected that because she was, as much as I knew she wanted to go, and as much as I wanted to go, and she knew that, she was going to do it on the right terms. It was going to be the right event, or it wasn't going to be the right event at all.
Yeah.
So
Which
I respected that,
and
we had a great time.
yeah.
Which I also think is a testament for how a lot of people date now. It's with I would say, especially, this makes me sad, but for a lot of women, it's with kind of low standards. And I think you have to make people show you that they want you around and that they want your company and that they're willing to put in effort.
Yep.
It's not always necessarily about money or dollar value, but effort and want and desire is important, because if they can't do that, then they probably wouldn't make a great partner. And so I think the fact that you were like, these are the things that I need to have a good night, and you said, yeah, okay, I'll accommodate those because I respect that, is a great foundation, a good place to start off with, right?
It was a great start, and the ending of it was he dropped me off and he gave me a hug, and then we kissed, and it was like such a magical kiss.
Oh, I love that.
It was a magic kiss.
And here we are.
And then poof, I'm here.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't poof.
It wasn't poof. It was
Okay,
it was
well.
years and years. Yeah.
So
I love
why,
that.
I have a question then.
Yeah.
So why is Vancouver known as the dating capital of Canada?
So I'll explain why Man's asking this question. It's because my dad's weird friend said that it was the dating capital of Canada, and now we're taking that to heart. I don't know if we should take any dad's weird friend's observation about dating to heart, but we are. I mean, I don't know. I guess the two options would probably be Toronto and Vancouver. Toronto's a little bit more hustle bustle, busy, career focused. So I guess that leaves Vancouver. That's maybe more focused on lifestyle and health and maybe therefore dating capital. I don't know. But I found like the dating pool in Vancouver when I was dating, when I was really out there, it was small. Like you would see the same people on dating sites all
really?
the time and stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
But, you know, dating capital, what does that mean? Does it mean a lot of people are going on dates, having sex?
It just sounds like
relationships.
people were making more of a sport out of dating than to actually get to like an end point of a serious relationship.
Right. Well, I mean, yes, I do find that dating in Vancouver is kind of hard, but also people are sometimes a little bit more insular, I guess. Like they're doing
maybe.
their own thing, but yeah. Okay, a couple of the questions that the people want to know. The first one is the story of Dad shutting us down at the cottage, which we were talking about last night, which was that my dad is a dad. I feel like we've joked that Dad is like Tim Allen, but you very much are. You're Tim Allen through and through. He's a dad to his core. And one thing that dads are known to not love is when you stay up too late being really loud and do not have respect for peace and quiet, which we got into all the time at the cottage. Yeah, we would have lots of nights where we were outside. And then Aaron remarked last night, because man and I were talking about times where we would be out, we would be drinking and having fun, and Dad would come out and be like, do you have any idea what time it is?
Yeah. The neighbors.
Aaron was like, you guys are just laughing about times that Joe's gotten mad at you. Yeah. Kind of.
Because where the bedroom patio doors were, the patio doors were always open just for the airflow kind of thing. And the fire pit was right in line with that door. So sound carries at night. It's quieter. You can hear everything. So I feel like it was almost amplified because it was at night and so late.
Yeah. And that was definitely a few times we got in trouble. Well, and then I was also telling a story about, so when I would have my friends up to the cottage, we would go in the hot tub, and the big thing was, apparently, I didn't know this, but the water to get into the hot tub was like imported in from a truck, and it was a small hot tub.
Yeah.
But we had lake water running through the cottage, so you couldn't put lake water in the hot tub. So some guy would come off and drop off, I don't know. Fresh water.
Yeah.
For the hot tub. But 5 of my friends and I got in there one day, and Samantha was a kid, and she was the perfect age to be our bartender.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So she would go and get us drinks out of the cooler whenever we wanted. She was like 5, and she would just come and bring us drinks. So we didn't really have to get out unless we had to go to the bathroom. So we were just in there partying, having a great time. We got out. The water level was astonishingly low, and we got in quite a bit of trouble for that one, but it was still a great day. Okay. So we have another question here. So we've kind of done what first attracted you to Man and Man to you. But Samantha, what first attracted you to Sean?
I would say,
Sean is her boyfriend of 2 years.
yes, I would probably say his resilience to my jokes and and to my sassiness. When I first met him, when I first started talking to him, it was my birthday, and my friend had posted something about how it was my birthday and happy birthday and whatever, and he added me on Snapchat. And we were just talking as friends, oh, how do you know this person, blah, 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 blah. And then my location was on Snapchat, and he saw that I was going skiing. So he's like, I'm going skiing. Do you want to meet up? And I'm like, sure, why not? So we met up, we started skiing, and then we didn't really talk much while we were skiing because obviously he started doing a bunch of jumps, and I was just like, I'm just here to casual ski. I don't know what you're on, sir, but it's Oh, well.
Were you with Dad?
Well, I was with Dad originally, but then he says I abandoned him, but I didn't.
You dumped me.
Oh, my goodness.
You said, let's go up this lift. I'd like to meet up with a friend. We go to the top of the lift. You two hesitantly sort of get together.
Well, yeah, I was
and
the
the next
first
thing
to
you know,
meet him.
you're gone, and I'm by myself.
I literally told you on the drive up that I was going to meet a friend and I'd be alone. Like, I'd leave you for a little bit, not for the whole day, just for a little bit.
Pretty much the whole day.
Okay, listen, whatever. But then when we went back to like one of the chalets, we were talking, and then we got fries, and I threw a fry at him. Now that's kind of cheesy and corny and whatever, you can say what you want, but I found it hilarious because every time I did it, it would land in his hood, and he didn't notice. And then eventually his hood was full of fries, and then he's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing." And he's like, "Okay." And then we just started getting closer and closer after that, and he went to a party with me at my friend's house, and we like snuggled up on the couch, and then just things just kind of went from there, honestly. And yeah, but ever since he's been very calm and very accepting of my sassiness.
There's an ongoing theme here, and it's that the women are here and the men keep it here.
Yeah.
Which I think is
They keep
nice.
the level of insanity at
bay. Yeah,
bay.
that's nice. That's very sweet. I like that. Okay, so this is a good question. If the boys, which is what we call our two little white fluffy dogs, Jake and Coco, who are right here cuddling, they're very cute. If the boys,
No,
That's not a cue.
It's
okay.
Lay
It's okay.
down.
Keep my mic.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
what just riled them up is that my dad, whenever he and Aaron loves to do an impression, which they instantly recognize. I'll try to do it quietly. But whenever my dad calls the dogs, instead of saying Jake and Coco, he just goes, boys. They just turn to look at me because they know, and that is their call, and they come to attention. They know immediately that is where that they have to do something, that they're out. And the only way for so Jake will kind of come when he's called, but Coco is a bit of a wanderer. He likes to go out and explore, and the only way that he will kind of come when he's called, if he's not really listening, is if my dad says, what is it?
Get your shiny ass over here.
Yeah. He has to say shiny ass, and that is the only way the dog will come.
And I'm
But
not really sure how that started or
But
why
it
it
works.
works. I've called them lots of other things, many things, but that works, and I don't know why.
that's the one that works. This question is, if the boys could talk, what do you think they would say, and what do you think they would sound like?
Personally, I would say that Jake is, and it probably is actually, would probably sound like a teenager, just hyper focused on his BALL. He
On his balls.
not his
Well, yeah, like if it
balls.
was a teenager, he would just be
No.
really focused on his balls.
Okay, well, if he was still a dog but could talk,
Yeah.
ball.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, if he was to embody, he popped up.
Okay.
So would he be like, yo, man, let's like my ball. It's like, this is my green ball, and this is like my even greener ball. And this is like,
I think he'd be more one of those annoying teenagers that's like, ball.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Like a little bit spectrum-y. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Cool.
when you
But it's
come
okay.
home, he'd be like, "Where have you been? Why didn't you take me? And why couldn't I go?" And
Why didn't you tell me
Yeah.
where you were going?
So neurotic. We would say he's like a bit of a neurotic teenager. Be like, actually, I did the calculations, and you should have been home 37 minutes ago based on the time that you left, how long it took
And
you
I
to go
got really
shopping, and what
mad.
even then. Yeah.
And I got really mad, so I shit all over the floor.
Yeah.
By the way, just telling you.
Anyway, and here's my ball, and then here's my ball again, and then if you could just do my ball again for the third time, I'm just evaluating the physics on it going down the stairs and coming back up. Okay,
right.
so he's a little bit more neurotic.
Yep.
What about Coco, Samantha?
I think he would just be like, he'd be a stoner dog.
Yeah, for sure.
Like he looks like he's the sweetest little cat in the world, being a dog. But like, if he could speak and if he could like express his opinions, he'd just be like, I'm gonna go take a nap now.
Yeah.
do we have chicken wings?
Look at him. He popped up. He was like, yeah, that's me. So true. He's
I'm
like,
gonna go lay on the couch.
but also like weirdly sexual because he loves to chew underwear.
Yeah. He's like,
Yeah.
he's gay, but he's also like open to every
I think
gender's
he's bi.
underwear.
I think he's a bi king,
It
you
just-
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he really
loves
likes
it.
to hump male dogs.
Yeah.
But he doesn't hump female dogs.
I like that. He's
And
like,
he doesn't
he's like,
hump the back end. He humps the face.
Yeah.
he's the one who's buying undies off of Sniffer, that website where you can sell used underwear.
How do you know about that?
Everyone knows about that. He's like, yeah, I'm on Sniffer. I like a good woman's panty, but I only like to have sex with men. That's definitely Coco for sure.
Yeah, but like the stoner version, he's like,
But like, yeah, man.
oh,
Very
this
chill.
and
Yeah.
a joint? Oh,
Yeah.
I could sniff it all day.
A joint and
my
anal. It's
God.
all Coco's looking for. I love that. Okay, great. Okay, man, what do you think they would
Yeah, I
say?
think you guys are right on point with
Yeah.
the both boys.
Both
here.
boys? Yeah. Dad, do you have any thoughts?
I agree. I don't know that. Like I can't see Coco going, dude. You know, he's not.
Spicoli from Ridgemont High.
Yeah, he's not that chill. He is chill, but he's just. It's almost like he just doesn't care.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's like the emo of
He's like,
the
whatever.
family. He's like,
Yeah,
"Ugh,
he's just whatever.
I hate the
Sure,
world.
yeah.
I'm gonna go take a nap.
You can cuddle me if you want, but like,
But he's
whatever.
all the rest of what you said. Yeah, I mean, he's looking for a nap. He's looking to lay down. He's looking to do his own thing. Now, if I tell him,
But he's looking for the warm spot too.
Yep. If I tell him there's a treat somewhere, then he'll come looking for that. But then he won't eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he's
true. He's such a
picky.
tease.
Yeah, but some of the reason is because his teeth are really bad. He's a small dog, and his teeth are going because he's getting old. But we forgive him. It's
But
okay.
I do think so. My dad's youngest brother, our uncle Scott, his wife Christine is from New Zealand, and she called him a little tat the other day, which I thought was great. A little tart. I do feel like he's a tart, kind of embodied. He's just,
Whoever wants to share body heat with him. he's
Exactly.
happy to go to. Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Okay, this is an interesting question because I know that Mom actually hates this movie. Mom hates the movie Groundhog Day.
Oh my God.
And she gets mad about it. She doesn't like that movie. She thinks it's a terrible
Worst
movie.
movie ever.
Why is it the worst movie, man? Tell us why you hate
It's
it.
too much repetition.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
Move on. Get on with the
Critically
yeah.
acclaimed movie, but she hates it. Repetition's too much. Which is interesting too because Dad hates repetition in songs.
So I hate endless repetition or mindless repetition,
Right.
particularly in music. But even in conversations, I mean, this is what irritates me when we have conversations with people who've had a few too much to drink, is that they repeat the same thing over and over. They can't move on. Interestingly enough, Mom doesn't mind endless repetition in songs
because it's dance music.
because it's dance music and it's dum, 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 same thing. But she didn't like the movie with
Groundhog
endless
Day.
repetition.
Hated the movie.
So-
But the interesting question is, if you had to live one day over and over again, which day would you choose? So as much as we hate repetition and we don't want to live something over and over again, was there a day that was so good that if you were forced to live a day over and over again, you would live that day?
So you're asking the question on the basis of everybody else is repeating the same day without realizing it, but one person, you, is well aware of the fact that this is your 115,000th iteration of the same day.
Yeah.
I would say my birth.
Oh my
Or
God.
mother.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
say
you're
that's
gonna
not the one.
you're gonna do that.
That wouldn't be the day. No, not at all.
She was puking, and there was.
It was quite a bit of trauma.
I covered
But
Joe
if I was,
head to toe in puke.
if I was a baby being brought into the world multiple times, just day after day, I would eventually learn stuff, and eventually I could help my mother have a better birth experience.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a
That
C-section.
seems like it would be
They,
nice.
they
They
cut me
had
open
But I
and
don't
they
think
tore
that-
you
yeah.
out.
I don't
Who
know.
knows, though?
Something about it.
We'll
There's
never know.
okay. There's been no
Because
other.
we're not reliving that.
Yeah. There's been no other day in your living life that you've been like, this is a pretty rockin' day, and if I had to do it again, I could do it.
My acceptance into UBCO.
Okay, that's good.
My
Because
wedding day was good.
Okay.
Yeah, your wedding day.
The thing I'm actually quite happy to say that there hasn't been just one day. I think there's been a butt ton of days. If you can define
A butt ton of days, yeah.
Ton, but there's been a lot of days in our 22 years or 23 years of knowing each other that have been fantastic. There's been lots of days that weren't all that memorable or serious, but we've had a lot of fun. We've done a lot of things. We've gone to a lot of places. We've done an awful lot. And when I listen to other people talk about what they've done and the repetition that they go through with work and I don't know, even their own vacations are always seem to be the same, you know. I think that's fantastic if that's what you really want to do, but it would be endlessly boring to me, and I can't do that. So we've spent
22 years, yeah.
It might even be more than that. It might be closer to 23 or 24 years. And there's been a lot of great times. I don't have one day to say I want to just relive that day over and over again. And because I want to make something perfect. So
that's really nice. That's nice to hear. I mean, I think that's a good marker of a life well lived, is that there isn't just one day you're holding on to that was just a great day and the rest of them not so much. But there's been
We've had a lot of fun.
And in keeping with that, I think that's a big testament to our family and our commitment to being together, but also embracing the new and change. And you guys have been great with that. I mean, you know, I feel like I've started so many things like comedy or, you know, coming out to you or, you know, being with different people, moving different places. And it's always been embraced with, okay. And we'll be there.
You're definitely walking the talk, and
you got to do
nothing
that,
better
right?
than that.
But it's great when you have a family that doesn't try to stop you at every turn. It's really nice to have people in your life that, even though there've been difficult moments and tough things we've had to endure and emotional times, and it's not always been easy, you know, the underlying part is that we love and support each other. And if we're going to do something cool and unique and different, and we need people there to support us, that we have family that's willing to do that.
But you have to remember too that this is your life. You need to lead it the way you want to, because everyone only gets one shot at life. So live it the way you want to live it, not the way other people expect you to.
Yeah, very true.
And it shouldn't be easy.
Yeah.
No, but it shouldn't. I mean, if it's easy, it gets boring quick.
Yeah.
So the whole concept of this is to just continue to work through it, have fun while you can. Yeah. Because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah. If you don't make your daughter bob for dick, she doesn't deserve a birthday. That's just the truth of it all. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into the podcast. Thank you to my family for being on it. You guys were so funny. If you would like to ask us any questions, anyone in the family or me included, you can go to askthepodcast@gmail.com. Please check out Soap Girls, and that's girls with a GURLZ online, because we sell fantastic soap. It's cured many people's eczema, not to brag. But we will post all of that. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. I love you all. Thank you for being on it, and have a good night.
Bye-bye.